Let's go through what I found through research, what I found through and learned, and what experiences I had. First of all, the majority, I would say 50% of the research that I did was through observations in a 3K, 4K, and a 5K classroom. I saw many instances of bullying, especially in 3K and in 4K. Not as much in 5K because the kids are a little bit older and have learned a lot more about how to deal with social situations. So a lot of that time that I spent was doing observations with many different teachers, many different teaching styles and curriculums in 3K, 4K, and 5K. Um, One of the other major parts of my learning was through interviews. I worked with Anna Bosner, who is my lead teacher in the classroom, in my classroom, and we sat down and talked about how we would deal with bullying in our classroom. We actually used puppets to teach different strategies through Second Step, but we actually added our own different puppetry teaching that we give to the kids on a constant basis every week. So that's one of the ways that we teach about bullying and are combating it in our classroom. Um, our lead teacher is Heidi Schultz. She's the early childhood leader. She was Teacher of the Year last year, and she's a major person in our class, in our grade level. And she actually was on a different side, and it kind of scared me because she talked about that there is no bullying in the classroom in kindergarten. And me and her kind of went round and round about it. And I thought gave her different like scenarios. And she thought that everything was about development. So I found a different side of the actual experience of bullying in kindergarten from her. Ophelia Lowe Hobbins was my fourth grade teacher, and she actually has taught all the different grades, and she gave me her side on bullying in kindergarten and in elementary school, and she's seen a lot of it. She told me to go back to when I was a fourth grader and how she taught me when I was being bullied because I was bullied all the time. And she told me those are the things that she instills even when she's teaching kindergarten or when she's a principal or when she's doing something in an administrative area. Kevin Doss is an actual therapist, and he was teaching me about the mental health side and what these bullying students can, how they victimize other students or what they think and where it comes from. And he was a major part in teaching me about what they're thinking, where they get it from, if they're getting it from the parent. Sarah Mo is an early childhood teacher in my school as well, and she talked about the early when they're just turning 3, things that they haven't got yet, and she's more on the developmental side of bullying and thinking that there really is no need for curriculum for bullying, but they just need to grow a little bit more. Classroom experiences, I looked and observed kids outside on the playground and saw some bullying out there. They excluded many children and isolated them, wouldn't let them play with them. I saw it in the circle time where some kids wouldn't let other kids talk because they didn't think they could talk well enough, and so they would make fun of them. I also saw it in playgroup during the playtime, where there were observations of students being bullied as well, or teased, or they couldn't play, they were isolated or excluded. I also read a book called The 55 Essentials by Ron Clark, which talks about manners. And I think that's a part of teaching about bullying and behaviors is okay, if you know your manners, you'll know how to treat people. And he gave me 55 essentials for working in a class for children in the classroom. Children's voices on bullying was a big one because that's where you had one side of bullying and they felt that there was no need for curriculum on bullying because the children are developing. And so many of the things that they talked about they felt weren't true bullying, but something that the children are growing up to. And finally, bullying affects us too was on the other side, where they felt that there was curriculum needed for bullying and that students should be able to learn about bullying and behaviors and strategies to curtail that, such as teaching children how to say no, teaching children how to stand up for themselves,